Problem number 1. What's the first step we want to do? We got this crazy hummingbird flapping its wings. You guys ever see a hummingbird before? Have you guys seen one before? Hummingbird you find more in warmer areas like Southwest United States, California, Florida. Okay. And what's cool about a hummingbird is it can flap its wings so quick that to the human eye it just looks like a blur. And because its wings are flapping so rapidly, it can actually fly like a helicopter. So it can hover in place, it can go backwards, it can drift up, down. And then hummingbirds are known for their bright colors, and they like to go from flower to flower, and they drink the nectar and all that. Okay? That's what a hummingbird is. And so when we're solving problems, step 1 is you'll first want to do what? Make a little picture. Okay, let's do that. Okay, so number 1 here, step 1 is draw a little picture. Okay? And again, nobody is a worse artist than Mr. Lau. If you really stink at drawing, draw a box, okay, label it bird, stick a head on it, a tail, some legs, and then some wings, okay? Whatever, there you go, okay? And in this case, the sketch doesn't tell us very much, but we just want to get in that habit, okay? On a test, I'll usually give you 1 point just for making a sketch, okay? If you're really desperate and you have no idea how to solve the problem, make your picture funny. Make me laugh, like Rip on South, like South Stinks or whatever, yeah? And then maybe I'll give you a mercy point, okay? Well, the point is we just want to get in that habit. Sometimes a picture tells you something, sometimes it doesn't, okay? Step 2, what do we want to do? We want to do what? Okay, we want to know the enemy by listing the knowns and unknowns. So what do I mean by that? Okay, I know sometimes in your math class they tell you to draw this like cheesy T-chart and all that. You know what? I don't want you to do that, okay? We just want to be very efficient and get to the point here, yeah? So when we say list the knowns and unknowns, you don't have to write out a paragraph, okay? Like the hummingbird is pretty and its wings are red and I like flowers, you know, and oh, I'm hungry, I want a cheese sandwich or whatever, yeah? Okay? When we say list knowns and unknowns, we're going to use variables. And you're going to list out things like which kind of letters are we going to use to represent our ideas? Like what? V, right? V equals whatever. Delta X equals whatever. T equals. F equals. Okay? Lambda equals, etc. You see that? Okay? Those are the variables. What are the knowns and unknowns? What are we given? We are given what? Help me out here. We are given frequency is 80 hertz. So how do you write that? You can write what? F equals what? 80 hertz. Okay? So you know what that means is a hummingbird can flap its wings 80 times a second. That's insane. Okay? That's why you can't see it. Your eye can only detect about like 20 to 25 times per second. Okay? Which is why like your TV set, it's not one continuous image. It's one image after another, flipped up rapidly so your eye can't detect the difference. Kind of like a movie. Okay? You put a film strip through a projector with each frame, and as you flash it by, your eye can't detect the difference. It looks like continuous motion. Okay? And what are we trying to solve for? What's our unknown? Our unknown is what? The period. Okay? Or the time for one cycle. So write T equals question mark. Okay? Step 2 is key to solving a problem. Usually this will be worth 2 to 3 points, just so you know. Okay? And you're saying, well, gee, that's really silly, Mr. Lau. That doesn't help us at all. You know what? Step 2 is the most important one because it tells us, well, gee, what do we know? Frequency. And what do we want to know? The period. So now we have a goal and we have a tool to work with, yeah? We got a little clue. Okay? If you don't do step 2, we don't really know what you're doing because we don't know what you know, we don't know what you don't know. All we know is you don't really know anything, okay? So make sure you do step 2 because here we know what we know and we know what we don't know. So you know a lot. And no one's half the battle. There we go. Okay, step 3, let's keep it moving. Pick your what? Okay, right. Your secret weapon is the equation that relates the knowns and unknowns, okay? So how do you know which equation to use? Well, very simple. All you do is you pick the right tool that gets the job done. Which one relates the known to unknown, okay? I know frequency, I want to know period. So which equation is going to work? Big time, guys. Number what? Number 3. You see that? Okay, so very simply, frequency is equal to what? 1 over the what? Period. You see that? I want you to actually write out the equation so we know what you're using. Okay? I find on tests people panic and they do what I call little lotto problem solving. They just start sticking numbers all over the place. You know that little like ping pong ball machine and the numbers fly out for the lotto? You know what I'm talking about? People start just doing that. They just like start sticking numbers all over. Woo! Okay, don't do that. Write out the equation. Okay? Don't make up your own equation. On an exam, I'll usually give you like a point for writing out the right equation. You see that? Okay? Finally, last step, you can what? Attack the problem by substituting and solving. So what you're going to do is you're going to take your knowns and unknowns, and stick them right into the equation. So in this case, the frequency is given as 80 hertz, and that's equal to 1 over the period, yeah? Okay, actually, you know what? We probably should use the alternate form, right? The alternate form. That would be a little bit easier. It's the same thing, right? Which is what? Period equals what? 1 over the frequency, yeah? Same idea. We're just making it a little bit more convenient. We could have solved it that way too. So period t is equal to 1 over the frequency, which is what? We put in 80, yeah? And so go ahead and get out your calculators now and just plug and chug, okay? And in this class, we're not going to make a big deal about significant figures, okay? I know in your chemistry class, I was emphasized heavily, just be reasonable, round it to whatever is reasonable, okay? And it's not going to be real critical there, okay? If we are going to worry about it, I'll let you know, but in general, we got a lot to cover. If we can just get down the problems, I'm happy there, yeah? Okay? Oops, am I recording that? I am. There we go. That's not recorded. There we go. 2. Okay, 0 point what? Okay, and units. Chickens, cows, fish. It's going to be in what? Time period is in seconds. In other words, a hummingbird can flap its wings 80 times a second. That's crazy, yeah? So each flap of its wings is only an 80th of a second, or a little bit over 100th of a second. See that? Okay? I think there's very few birds that can actually do that. And then certain insects, like dragonflies and bumblebees, have a high enough wing rate where they can kind of fly like a helicopter. Okay? And on a test, the last step is usually only worth like 2 points. Okay? A point for the right answer, the number value, and then a point for the right units. So let's say you had a bad day and you just hit the wrong number on your calculator. You're still going to get like 8 out of 9 points in terms of breaking it down. Okay? Because what you're doing is you're communicating your problem-solving process, and in real life, that's what counts. Okay? You might become a rocket engineer, physicist, more power to you. But in real life, you're going to need to know how to think logically, break down a big problem into steps, and to communicate your ideas. And that's what counts. Okay?